You know, our government has long since abandoned the voices of the people of Ireland, and it's high time that America is made aware of what is going on in Ireland. What is going on in Ireland? I'm here to raise the issues that people of Ireland face. Yes. You know, and it'll be music to the people of Ireland's ears, because never on the main stage has the issues the people of Ireland face been spoke. You know, our money is being spent on overseas issues that has nothing to do with the Irish people. The illegal immigration racket is running ravage on the country.
Did you know that Dublin has fallen from one of Europe's safest cities to among its most dangerous in just one decade? This stunning reversal wasn't mentioned by politicians during recent UK-Ireland talks, but Conor McGregor made sure it couldn't be ignored at the White House. McGregor's confrontation with Keir Starmer exposed the uncomfortable reality that millions of citizens feel silenced on immigration issues, while their concerns are dismissed as extreme. The establishment's response to his comments reveals exactly what they don't want you to understand about the current crisis. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favour. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now back to the video. When Conor McGregor strode into the White House briefing room on St. Patrick's Day
and highlighted, you know, it's also St. Patrick's Day, so a little bit of celebrations for sure, and you know, a little bit of learning and listening to Mr. President Trump. There are rural towns in Ireland that have been overrun in one swoop, that have become a minority in one swoop. So issues need to be addressed, and the 40 million Irish Americans, as I said, need to hear this, whose work ethic is inspiring. And all that does to me is highlight the lack of work on my side. So that's it, that's what I'm here for.
The political establishment probably expected nothing more than the usual celebrity photo op. Instead, what they got was a full-blown confrontation that left politicians scrambling for cover and exposed the growing chasm between political elites and everyday citizens. The UFC fighter didn't come to exchange pleasantries. While everyone was busy with shamrock pins and green ties, McGregor had a different agenda entirely, shining a spotlight on what he bluntly describes as the illegal immigration racket running ravage on the country. In that moment, the festive atmosphere evaporated, replaced by the kind of tension politicians spend their careers trying to avoid. What made McGregor's appearance so explosive wasn't just what he said, but the stark contrast it created with the carefully crafted political speak from figures like Keir Starmer. While the British Labour leader was busy reassuring Trump about the health of free speech in the UK.
We consider America our big sibling, so it's important for Ireland to have be a peaceful, happy, prosperous country for the 40 million Irish Americans to have a place to visit.
We couldn't think of a better guest to have with us on St. Patrick's Day. We're both wearing our green. This was not planned, but very festive. And as you know, I'll be having a briefing later at 1 o'clock, so we'll talk more about their meeting later.
So we wish for our relationship with the United States to continue, and we wish to be taken care of by the big bro. You know, the United States should look after its little bro, and that's how we feel.
McGregor was demonstrating exactly why such assurances ring hollow to many citizens. His comments about rural Irish towns being overrun in one swoop and communities becoming a minority in one swoop cut through the sanitised political discourse like one of his famous left hooks. Perhaps most telling was the immediate backlash from Irish Prime Minister Michael Martin. Rather than addressing the substance of McGregor's concerns, Martin resorted to the political establishment's favourite tactic, dismissal. By claiming that McGregor's remarks were wrong and do not reflect the spirit of St. Patrick's Day or the views of the people of Ireland, Martin inadvertently proved McGregor's point. The political elite would rather wrap themselves in the comfortable blanket of holiday traditions.
Irish UFC fighter Conor McGregor has visited the White House where he met with Donald Trump, and he was there for St. Patrick's Day, and he insisted that his country is at the cusp of losing its Irishness.
The government has long since abandoned the voices of the people of Ireland, and it's high time that America is made aware of what is going on in Ireland. What is going on in Ireland?
Especially places like Ireland that's grappling with a surge in immigration, which has led to a housing crisis and increased social tensions.
Then confront uncomfortable realities many citizens are experiencing. McGregor's response to this criticism was brutal in its simplicity. I am an employer of over 200 people, almost 300 people in the country of Ireland. He's an employer of none, he fired back. With this single statement, McGregor positioned himself as someone with skin in the game, a person creating real opportunities for Irish citizens, while politicians offer nothing but rhetoric. When he added that every available metric available to us has shown that the government of Ireland currently has failed the people of Ireland, he wasn't just speaking as a celebrity, but as someone invested in his country's future. The confrontation highlighted a phenomenon increasingly common across Western democracies: the growing divide between political establishments that prefer to avoid discussions about immigration impacts and citizens who feel these changes most acutely in their daily lives. What makes McGregor's intervention so remarkable is that it took a sports figure to articulate concerns that elected officials seem determined to ignore or minimise. While Dublin has transformed dramatically over the past decade with significant shifts in safety and community cohesion, mainstream politicians have routinely sidestepped discussions about the connection between these changes and immigration policies. McGregor's willingness to broach this subject publicly, in the White House no less, represents exactly the kind of conversation many citizens want, but are increasingly told is inappropriate or extreme. The reaction to McGregor's comments reveals another troubling pattern. When Martin claimed the fighter didn't represent Irish views, he did so without presenting any evidence. No polling data, no community feedback, just a blanket dismissal. This top-down determination of what constitutes acceptable opinions is precisely what drives many citizens to feel politically homeless and increasingly drawn to voices outside the establishment. What political figures like Martin and Starmer seem unable to grasp is that dismissing concerns doesn't make them disappear. It only pushes them underground where they fester and grow stronger. By labelling legitimate questions about immigration policy as inappropriate or extreme, they're not promoting harmony, but creating the conditions for deeper divisions and more extreme reactions. McGregor's appearance transformed what could have been a forgettable celebrity cameo into a moment that resonated far beyond the White House briefing room. His warning to the 40 million Irish Americans about potentially having no place to come home and visit wasn't just dramatic rhetoric. It expressed a genuine concern about cultural preservation that many feel, but few in positions of power are willing to acknowledge. The lasting power of McGregor's White House appearance lies not just in what was said, but in what it represents: the widening gulf between ordinary citizens and a political class that seems allergic to honest conversations. While establishment figures scramble to manage the fallout, social media tells a different story, with countless users rallying behind McGregor's immigration stance. Others criticised his timing during a cultural celebration. But this division itself proves his point about the fractured discourse. What does it reveal about our political landscape when it takes a UFC fighter to articulate concerns that many citizens harbour but dare not express publicly? Perhaps the most telling moment came in McGregor's simple parting words: "God bless Ireland and God bless America." No focus group tested rhetoric, no carefully crafted political doublespeak, just a straightforward benediction that resonated more authentically than hours of political posturing. In that moment, McGregor demonstrated why citizens increasingly trust fighters over politicians to represent their interests.